meeting to order. This is a regular meeting, November 20th, Wednesday. It's 6:30 p.m. We are in the Early Childhood Center in Palisades Park. Palisades Park. So the flag salute will be led by Ms. Bo.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call please.
Ms. Sue Chung,
Present.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Present.
Ms. Rebecca Lee, Ms. Suk Young Park,
Yes.
Mr. Aaron Pack,
Present.
Mr. William Kim,
Present.
Mr. Anthony Kim, Ms. Bo Young Yu,
Here.
Ms. Yoon Min,
Present.
Dr. Cirillo,
Here.
Bush Law Group.
Here.
Thank you.
In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, I hereby state that notice of this regular meeting has been provided to the public by the written notice dated January 14, 2024. The meeting notice has been emailed to all staff members at the district's 3 school locations, communicated to at least one of the board's designated newspapers, filed with the Board of Clerk of Palisades Park. Now we'll start the working session and we'll review and discuss resolutions to be voted in the regular meeting to be followed after. First we will discuss about the voting minutes that was dated October 16th, last month. Do you have any comments and discussion on these meeting minutes? So if not, let's move on to the finance.
Okay, the finance committee, we have 14 items to discuss. The first is food service vouchers. Second, secretaries and treasurers financial reports. Third, ratification of the board secretaries monthly decertification budgetary line item states. And 4 is approval of payroll, 2 payrolls. And 5, approval of the November bill list. And 6, transfer of funds. And 7, the student activity accounts financial pay report. And 8, the professional service, legal service. And 9, change of order request for Lindbergh locker room project. 10, staff member visitation and workshop. 11, grant acceptance of the computer science high school courses. And 12, commission for the blind and visually impaired contract school year of 2024 and 2025. And 13 is approval of the project, the network licenses. And 14 is Title I, the salaries for the full-time staffs. And I'm sorry, one more item, the 15, the grant the carryover 20 school year 23 to 2024. So it total 15 items.
Thank you. Board members, do you have any questions, discussion on this part of the agendas under finance?
Number 8, what time period is that for?
Fiscal year.
So that would take us through the end of this calendar year, through December 31, potentially into the reorganization. And then, obviously, at reorg, we would start the clock over.
And that started with, in January?
I believe slightly thereafter, we started with the Bush Law Group.
Did that cover any issues prior to the year? That started prior to the year?
No. Prior to January of 2024, correct? Is your
Right,
question?
right.
No. They were not attorney of record. It may have had some carryover from previous attorneys, obviously catching them up to speed and or any potential litigation that we've had. but nothing prior to the January or probably February, if my memory serves correct.
But it may have covered issues that began before.
It may have, yes, absolutely. Anything that was outstanding with the previous attorney that did not continue.
And if I may, I just speaking on behalf of the firm, most, I don't have the bills here as a breakdown, but if we look at the pie chart here, I would say a significant percentage of our attorney's fees have been expended as a result of matters related to either carryover from the prior firm, or resolving matters that have been handled by this board, before we got here. And obviously, in addition to, negotiations, obviously.
Yeah, that was my question.
The negotiations have been a larger percentage of our bills. Otherwise, it hasn't been as much, actually.
Stop talking.
Knock wood for you.
That's why I
When
said
the
stop.
negotiation was there, like 4 or 5 years ago, right, for the negotiation, that time was, the attorney fee was more than like 9,000 something, right?
Well, again, not just attorney fees for negotiations, so
Yeah, I
attorney
know, yeah,
fees.
but I mean, this one is including the total of the attorney fees.
That is correct.
While they don't, was same situation, right?
That was also including
Yeah.
negotiations at that time, yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Next, the bill list on page 4, talking about Palisades Park Board of Education transportation fee was $348,480. Do we pay that every month?
No, we do not. Twice a year?
The 1 year.
This is twice a year, Ms. Min.
For annual
That should be
transportation?
2425. On the bill list, page 4, $348,480.
That reflects the large number of the bill list in number 5, right?
That is for the full year, Ms. Min. There's a typo there that says 2424, it should be for 2425.
Oh, I see.
It is for the full
But
year.
it says like a date from November 1st to November 30. That's
Correct.
why I was confused.
Correct.
So
Good
that's the
catch.
contract, they charge just once a year, right?
That is correct.
That makes sense.
See the typo here? That's why it was confusing to him.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to the building and grounds. Ms. Rebecca Lee is not present, correct? Okay. There's 6 consent agenda. Number 1 is Garden State Candle, user facility, PP, Palisades High School gym. Second is Learning Grow Academy, holiday concerts to use high school auditorium. Number 3 is PTA, use of Lindenberg facilities on those dated upon like January 17th, January 18th, March 28th. Number 4, health and safety evaluation school building checklist 2024 to 2025. Number 5, Palisades Park Little League. Number 6, arts hoop shoot, to use a high school gym for arts for hoop shoot on Sunday, January 5th, 2025. Do you have any questions and discussion under those 5 consent agenda on the building and grounds?
Yes.
Mr. Shin?
Yeah, I have several issues. The first, we are getting like the liability insurance certificates, right? Okay, please make sure when you get the certificate, okay, make sure that's the formal and the correct, the insurance certificate, because like we remember that like the basketball team before, they submitted some kind of like the unofficial and the kind of the fake certificate, right? So fortunately there was no accident, but if there was any accident happens, we would be responsible for that too. So please make sure we have like formal and correct liability certificate, okay? And second, number 5, Palisades Park Little League. Okay, that starts from the beginning of February, and there is some conflict with the basketball and baseball. But there is one more contract as far as I remember, like indoor soccer is until like the February 7 or 8. So like for 1 week, beginning of February, there is a duplication of 3 parties, right? So please, when you get this kind of the application, please check if there is the further duplication of the application or like the time conflict. The beginning of February for 1 week, there is 3 parties conflict of the use of the gym.
Do any of the times conflict, Mr. Shin, or is it just the days that the gym is
Days,
being
yeah,
utilized?
right,
The days.
days.
So I'm sure it's, again, first and foremost, I wanna be clear with this. Any function for our students and our schools takes precedent over any other program, first and foremost. Second, if it's recreation, I'm sure they're probably not running concurrently in one space. So they're probably different time frames, and we'll look at that and be in touch with recreation, but thank you.
Okay.
What is the Elks food sheet? Is this part of the school or what, are we being paid for it or?
We are not being paid for it. We encourage more participation from our students. And unfortunately, in the past, the Elks hoop shoot is something that I remember doing as a child myself. And it is something that was normally done on a Saturday. I believe last month, we passed a resolution that the hoop shoot would be done during the course of the day. Obviously, we have a lot more participation during gym class, and we were very pleased with being able to host that in our school day. With that being said, this new request is being asked for, I believe, a second round or students who advance, but there is no financial incentive for us.
Is that, I thought we were doing, for outside organizations, we were going to be doing fees for that.
I believe the Elks is, and again, don't quote me on this, but I believe they are a non-for-profit.
Correct.
It's non-profit, and there's no fee charged to the students.
Okay.
Alright, so Dr. Siri, I have a question regarding this, application,
Yes, the use form?
right, to
Yes.
use the form before request the usage of the school facility.
Yes.
So I don't think this needs the board approval or just in your discretion as
It
school
doesn't, there's no
superintendent, we can
policy,
just-
yeah, there's no policy, what Ms. Chung is referring to is the form that I generated over the summer. I don't know if you guys can see it on that end. But I think going forward, it is a form that, in the past, an email was sufficient. I think this would require additional information from, the requested party. I believe that this would allow us to have more checks and balances, like Mr. Shin said earlier. So I proposed it to the board president. It's an application for school use and facilities, and I believe if the board's okay with it, effective January 1 would be a good time to start this.
Okay, that's it.
Is that good with you?
Yeah, I was going to ask when are you going to start to implement?
Yeah, I would like to start I said July, January 1.
January, you said
Thank you.
January,
I said
okay.
January?
Okay,
I wish it was July.
all right, thank you. Is there any questions, discussion on the ground, building and ground?
Was there any further
Good point.
discussion on, the borough providing any financial support for use of school facilities by the rec department?
I was hopeful that our new liaison, or no, it's gonna be a new council member. Maybe one of his first actions would be to help us, as he knows all too well our financial constraints. Mr. Shin, so again, I know it's come up in the past, and I know you're gonna be charged with wearing many a hats, but in your last 2 months with us, I would ask that you please go there knowing the challenges that we are faced with. And one of them is asking for additional support, financial assistance from the recreation program for the use of facilities.
Okay, first, thank you for the congratulations, and I don't promise anything, but I promise I'll do my best, okay?
Thank you. That's a promise.
Yeah.
Just want to add to that, just to clarify, that this form has to be applied to all the private and non-profit or even governments.
Anyone using our facilities will
Recreations,
be,
they will use the same
anyone
facilities.
using the
as the
facilities will be
form.
required to fill that out.
Right, okay. Alright. Have further discussion? If not, let's move on to personnel. Mr. Shin, please.
The personal committee, I have the 10 items to discuss. First is the approval of home instruction teachers, and second, hourly adjustment request. Third is volunteer girls basketball coach, the approval, and fourth is winter track coach approval, and fifth, breakfast club program approval, and the sixth is request for leave of the steps, and the seventh is ESL curriculum staff revision. 8 is appointment of 2 staffs, and 9 is high impact tutoring grant, after school tutoring. 10 is resignation of the staffs. We have 10 items to discuss.
Thank you. Any discussions and questions in personnel? Okay, the next curriculum, that's, Ms. Bo, you have a consent agenda.
Number one, preschool projected enrollment, 2025-2026. SY. School year.
School year.
Be it resolved that the Palisades Park Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the submission of the preschool projected enrollment for the 2025-2026 school year. Number two, 2025-2026 three-year preschool program plan. Be it resolved that the Palisades Park Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, approves the submission of the Division of Early Childhood Services 2025-2026 three-year preschool program plan, including form survey, statement of assurance, and the district contact chart. Number three, field trips to Bergen Community College, Farley Dickinson, Catch Air again, Palisades Park Pool, AMC Movie Theater, again, and River Auto Service.
Do you have any questions regarding these 3 consent agenda?
So what is the number of students we expect in preschool next year?
Very good question, Mr. Shin. Next year is the year 5. It's our 5th year of the program. So when we started, we had to project what it would look like. Next year, we anticipate 210 students, which is our universal number that the state was expecting us to have.
So, and this year was
180.
from 180 to 210.
That is correct.
Including all the students who are in private facility too.
That is correct.
By the way, in the, well, I don't know which one is which one, enrollment or 3 years, but private facility means it's Christian academies.
Yes.
Means
Yes.
that's considered private, okay.
So when we are getting the subsidies from the state, right, for the preschools? Right?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
So is there any limitation of the number of students?
210. 15 students per classroom, with the universal number of 210. I'm sure if we had additional space and, there was still students on a wait list, if I petitioned the state for more money, I'm pretty confident that they would give it to us, but we don't have space.
Because for the long term, like by the New Jersey law, the Palisades Park needs a lot of the affordable house,
That's correct.
right? So there are a lot of rules spending. So in worst case, like the population of the Palisades Park could be increased by 5,000 to 6,000 something. Then accordingly, the number of students will be increased a lot. So long term, we have to prepare for that, in the school.
Correct. Not just pre-K,
Not just to prepare the other schools too.
correct.
Thank you. This Jumbai Palisade Park Pool, this is not pretty promising, it's just a senior,
This is it looks like if it's a senior advisors, this would be a senior pool party.
just senior.
That is
pool.
correct. That is done annually.
And Ms. Fo, as we discussed briefly prior to this meeting, so we received this resolution pretty late, and I know you and me both have a daytime job, and we didn't have really enough discussion regarding on this number 1 and 2. So, but as Dr. Sidro mentioned, that we need to approve it prior to the December, so would you like to approve these 2 items later on in the regular meeting, in the condition of that we probably have all the questions and details to be discussed in this
I think-
later
Well, I
on?
think item number one, we don't know that's the number, so I trust that Dr. Cirillo did this. So I think that can go through, and I think what Dr. Cirillo had suggested would be, we would do a preliminary approval and then,
Conditional.
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 Okay.
And if there's any concern or reservation regarding the submission and or what is involved in it, we would obviously take that under advisement.
So I think we can move forward with it unless somebody feels like we need more time to review it. But I think we have a deadline of November 30th, so probably best to continue forward with approving it, but
Okay. So any other questions? All right, so next. Negotiations, Mr. William Hill,
No report.
and Chair Policy, Ms. Sung-min,
No report at this time.
New Jersey School Board Liaison Alternate, Mrs. Park,
Yeah, I don't have any report today.
County School Board Rep and Alternate, Mr. Ironbach,
Nothing to report.
School Safety and Security Committee, Mr. Anthony Kim, is he here?
No.
So all the business, you didn't write any, but I just remembered from reading the meeting minute from October 16th, so we said we would discuss the student rep the next month, which is this month. So I don't know, I actually honestly don't recall what was our last question regarding those student rep things. But let's just discuss it little by little so we can be ready by the reorg meeting in
100%.
January.
I agree.
So do you remember what parts we stopped discussing that time?
Yeah, I believe we were going to, when I shared with the board, we were going to revise the existing policy because currently it speaks to the principal making the recommendation. And I do
Alright.
not believe that it should be solely placed on one individual. I believe a committee should be formed. We do have students who have expressed interest. This last year, a survey was conducted, a vote was conducted via Google Classroom, I believe. So I recommend that we definitely move on this before January and start this at reorg like we said we would.
So the first step you think the board should take action is to revise the policy.
Absolutely.
Okay,
That would be my, Mr. Bush,
Great.
thank you.
alright then, so we only have one more meeting prior to the January reorg. And today we don't have,
Well, because it's just a
Policy,
revision, we don't need
right.
2 readings, we only need 1 reading. So
Right.
revising it can
okay.
be done at the December
Okay.
meeting.
Sure. So, Mr. Kondowski, let's have the current policy be ready to distribute all the board members for discussion, and then we will discuss upon them in December meeting.
Noted.
Thank you. So we don't have new business, do you? No? All right, so may I have a motion to close the working session and open the regular meeting?
I make the motion.
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objection? So I'll start with the board president's report. I don't think I should report, but I just wanna make a recognition of this clean community things that will take place in the Borough Hall this Saturday. This is Saturday, November 23rd, 10 to 12 p.m. in front of Borough Hall, 275 Broad Avenue. I was informed from the clean community in the Borough of Palisades Park, and I was told that this information has been shared with all the school members on the website, but I'm not sure if it's on there, but.
I don't believe it's on the website, and if it is, I wasn't asked to put it there, but I will make sure it's there
Okay.
tomorrow.
Thank you, so the students can know and then sign up, so they know how many people are participating, and the credit will be given to, for some of these community services,
Yep.
correct? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So next, the report of the superintendent, Dr. Cirillo.
Thank you, Ms. Chung. I have 3 items, although there is only 1 bullet there, and that's probably the most important and will garner the most attention. First and foremost, I received a very nice correspondence. Our schools participated in the Tunnels to Towers Foundation, and on behalf of the foundation, they are thanking us for the contribution, for the continued memory of firefighter Stephen Siller, who lost his life on September 11, 2001. Thank you to all of those who participated. This is very nice to receive this. You know who you are. Thank you for doing what you do. Second, well, I guess preschool eligibility has made a decision. We are receiving in excess of $2 million. I am very proud to report we are recipients of $2,040,060 for preschool expansion, which means, not what Mr. Shin asked, but what Mr. Shin asked. We are eligible now to construct what we had submitted for 7 new classrooms under the parking garage of the town library. When will that happen? I'm not sure. We just received this. This is fantastic news for us. This is an application that we had to submit. I shared with the board. I'm very happy to report that this will benefit potentially in excess of another 100 students. So I guess it's a start in the right direction. That's all great news. That's just a local share of 40%. We need to come up with additional funding for this project to be at its completion. Regardless, when someone gives you 40% of what a project costs, you run with it. So I'm very excited to say, on behalf of the board, $2 million is nothing to blink an eye at. So we did a great job with this. Kudos to you all. Last but not least, to you and your families, I know it's creeped up on us, but next Thursday is Thanksgiving, so let's be very thankful for what we have, for each other. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. Thank you for what you all do each and every day for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been forgetting about Thanksgiving. Also, thank you for Dr. Cirillo for making this happen to receive this preschool expansion grants, which is $2 million. Good news. Yep. And the concern is how we get the rest of it, so we'll discuss on it. And then, yeah, so forward to good news. Thank you.
Is there a deadline for construction?
Not to this, not shared just yet. At this point, this is just a preliminary eligibility letter, which means we are eligible. It's preliminary. A final eligibility letter will be shared after 30 days. And then in the event we wanted to challenge that we didn't receive what we asked for, that would be this phase, but at this point, we asked for the construction of 7 classrooms. Our architects and the borough architects worked in collaboration because that is technically not our property. The submission of the application was clearly worked on by multiple people. So the construction of 7 rooms would come up with a dollar amount, which 40% the state will cover.
So we're looking for $3 million. Do we have an idea?
You're quick.
Of where we're gonna go?
Yeah, we do. We have multiple ideas, and I'm gonna reserve any further comment on that until we meet with our local municipal government and or other entities. But right now, it's most important that we receive this. This is round 2. We did not receive round 1 of funding, so just to be, identified and shared, with this number, we're very grateful.
So the lender will be the borrowers and the building might be Board of Ed, because we are using our funds to build it.
Well, we've yet to determine that. If we go out to referendum, it would be taxpayer funds. So let's get through Thanksgiving first,
Okay.
Ms. Chung.
All right.
How about we get through this meeting? And then we get to Thanksgiving.
Wait, so
The,
under the
the
parking lot?
initial drawings for the 7 classrooms
Yes, sir.
was designed by who?
By our architects at the time, Paret Samjin, and by the borough architects, I believe, Ed Akari. I might be pronouncing his name wrong, but I've been in multiple meetings with both parties, and that's who worked on this project.
That was 3 years ago when the plan was drawn.
2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember exactly.
Wait, so it's underground, so what?
Not underground, no.
Oh,
It's ground level.
parking. Oh, okay. So where would the parking go?
At this point, I think the classroom space is much more needed than that parking spot or spots. Many of those vehicles are able to be relocated. I don't think that our library attendees are using that parking garage regardless. There is another garage adjacent to it that is being utilized more frequently.
So we are using New Christian Academy as a subcontractor for the time being, right? So if those classrooms is installed, then we don't need to use the outside contract.
Very likely,
Yeah.
yes.
Right? Thank you.
So let's approve the board meeting minutes dated on October 16. May I have a motion to approve the October meeting minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objection? Now it's finance, so we have 15% agenda to approve. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I second. Roll call please.
Ms. Soo Chung,
Yes?
Ms. Yoon Min,
Yes.
Mr. Aaron Pack,
Yes.
Ms. Suk Young Park,
Yes.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Yes.
Mr. William Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Bo Young Yu.
Aye.
Thank you.
Building and grounds, there are just 6 consent agenda to approve. May I have a motion to approve the 6 consent agenda on the building and grounds?
On motion.
Second.
Do you think I can do the all in favor things?
You can, as long as it's not, which ones are we doing on this one?
B and G.
Building.
Yeah, absolutely.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No objection? Abstention?
Personnel, you have to do roll call. Personnel.
Right. Personnel and finance.
Not Luis, but, yeah, it's fine. Personnel Interesting, whole curriculum.
So in personnel, we have 10 consent agenda. We have a motion to approve 10 consent agenda in personnel, personnel resolutions.
Yeah, I make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call please.
Ms. Soo Chung,
Yes?
Ms. Yoon Min,
Yes.
Mr. Aaron Pak,
Yes.
Ms. Suk Young Park,
Yes.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Yes.
Mr. William Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Bo Young Yu.
Aye.
Thank you.
So next is, next board business to approve is curriculum. We have 3 consent agenda, but, let's just clarify this both. So you can just, you're okay to just go for approving all agendas and then you don't wanna put any condition on it.
Well, yes, because of the time constraints, we need to have it approved by November 30th is what Dr. Cirillo said.
Right.
So I don't know when we would approve it, by email?
No, we're approving now, but in the condition that we probably have a other discussion after meeting or next week for December, if there's any conflicts, there's any errors, then
Sure,
this
I mean,
approval will just, okay.
we can email about it, but I mean, it's a holiday, I don't know when we're gonna, anyway.
Oh, I don't think it's requiring another meeting, how about this, I will not submit this until at least next Wednesday. That'll give anyone on the board ample time to review it in detail. If there are any concerns, please be in touch with me,
Okay,
okay?
sounds good.
Thank you. So it's a conditional approval on number 2.
Okay,
Only number 2, not number 1, correct?
correct.
Okay.
What's the conditioning? So what are we setting as the condition?
In the event there is any concerns with the material that's identified in the plan, that I would address that. But we're gonna submit it regardless.
You should say, add that on the condition of the superintendent's thorough review.
Superintendent.
On the condition of the superintendent's thorough review. Is that okay, board members?
Yep. So may I have a motion to approve number, consent agenda of 3 consent agenda with some exception of number 2 under with the conditional approval upon the superintendent's thorough review. May I have a motion?
I motion.
Make the motion.
And second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objection? Thank you. So those negotiations, policy, New Jersey School Board, County School Board, school safety. You don't have reports, so I would just skip to the public participation. Unless we have on the discussion or the business regarding student rep. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
May I have a motion to open the public participation?
I'll make the motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objection. Alright. So now the meeting is open to public, so each speaker has 3 minutes. Please state your name and address.
And Miss Naomi, here's the wonderful news for you. You get to be the first to stand at our podium.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a little more professional, sorry. That's what happens when you go first. So we just ask that
I
you
didn't
please
even
step
notice
forward to the podium, please. Thank you.
Getting fancy here.
Noemi Rivera, Glen Avenue. Really quickly, there was something that was inadvertently omitted from the agenda. It was January 10th, request for the PTA to use this facility for ECC's first dance.
You mean the typo?
No, it's not even there. I double checked it. So
When is it
we
for?
have
January 10th?
January 10th. So we have the 17th, the 18th, and then March for Lindbergh, but we requested the 10th to keep. It's not on the.
We could add it to the December meeting. I can tell you wholeheartedly, I don't foresee any concern with that, but if the board wanted to go back into, I guess you would have to go back into P&G and amend it. Mr. Bush?
I mean, it's up to the board, you could add it tonight if you wanted, but again, the question becomes, oh, sorry, pause your time here. The question was whether or not, you know, when you have these reviews of use of facilities, is there some back office, review and consideration as to whether or not a building is available, if there's something else that
Yeah,
conflicts?
I'm checking right now with that. I do have the calendar of
Okay.
events for this building, in my calendar. January 10th, you said,
Yes.
unless it's potentially reorganization for the board, because we have to do that within the first 10 days of the, right, the new year?
It's possible, and I don't know when your reorg meeting is not.
We have not scheduled it yet.
I would just say this, that if the board is committed.
Hold on, it's a Friday,
It's a Friday,
right?
right.
We're
It's
not
a Friday.
reorging on a Friday.
That's right.
If the board wants a reorg on a Friday, I'm starting to feel sick, sorry.
All right, it's up to the board, you can approve it tonight, but once you approve it, it's approved, so.
January 10th is going to be added and updated in the minutes to reflect PTA. Is it a parent, or is it daddy-daughter, mommy, son?
No, that's in Lindbergh.
Okay, so what is
So
happening
it's
here?
just a Winter Wonderland themed dance here.
DJ, trying to do it up.
For the little ones, yeah,
All right,
we're trying to do it
nice.
up.
So when the Wonderland in Lindenberg,
No, here,
No, for ECC.
here.
yes.
For grade, pre-K 3 to 5. Then the next thing is, Mr. Shin, when you press rec, I would ask that you go above rec and go straight to town hall, because what ends up happening is that the fees go up. And the children of this town, the parents can't afford it. Baseball went up double within 1 year. Everyone is complaining. While our fees are low, it's still double. So try to go above rec, because that's their ending. They're just gonna raise up the prices, and it's not fair to the parents. Okay, that's it, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mr. Rivera,
Good afternoon, I'm Bradley Rivera, Glen Avenue, what's my title? For BPL. I'm the treasurer, so I do got some insight on some of the stuff the rec does, and I wanna give you my voice and opinion, because I'm involved with over 300 children, not just in Palisades Park, but Leonia, Ridgefield. And one thing that is concerning is the hardship that these prices come when, you know, you raise prices. You know, what's the end game? What's the performance indicator? How does this affect kids, right? At the end of the day, you wanna keep these kids active. You want them to know each other, so when they walk into schools, they get familiar with the children they're working with. I've worked with some children, some of the teachers may have seen me, some children, do have some problems here and there, you know, talking to children, and as soon as they come out with these programs, you know, they break out of their shell. Whether it's baseball, soccer, whatever the kids are doing, it's important that we make sure that we recognize who we're affecting. A lot of these parents can't afford, and sometimes the attendance goes down, and a lot of these kids are from this town. I know almost all the kids from the schools because of this. And I'm telling you, it's making a difference academically, because the parents talk to me, the kids, you know, are listening, the discipline translates. If you want what's best for the future, please consider the effect it takes when you're charging a couple dollars. I mean, it's not gonna really make a difference in your end budget. Lastly, I wanna say something. I've been doing some research, and I took some notes. I don't know how many minutes I have, but I try to go through it really quickly. It has to do about academic achievement and impacts it has. So the Learning Policy Institute, Center Education Policy and Analysis, ERA Open, the Calder Center, and the Markle Center has shown that there's a decrease in academic achievement when teachers do not have a contract. I'm not here to speak on behalf of the teachers, but I want you guys to recognize that there has been a lot of studies that say that correlate the performance of students based on the contentment of teachers. I don't want teachers to be bitter when they come into school. I don't want your jobs to be harder, but please recognize if there's a collective bargaining issue, yeah, please handle it, but their kids are gonna be affected at the end of the day. There's hard concrete studies, even the CIA discusses about it. I came from the Intel community, and we discuss the impact of academic achievement when it comes to contract negotiations. I don't know the ins and outs. I just know there's a lot of teachers here, there's a lot of you guys up there. I see a lot of you guys during voting period, and you guys ask for things. So a performance indicator is how you guys resolve issues. So, and that's what I look when I look at you guys' names on the tickets, how you guys resolve big issues in my town. Thank you.
thank you.
charging for?
So, no, there's a consideration to start charging for the use of the facilities. Right now, it's, there's been no charge, so the cost is not transferred to the parents. And like I said, I work with a lot of these students. And, you know, whether it's on the field, it translates to school, and I know some of the parents are asking for donations, they can barely afford the charges for these kids.
May I just respond to that real quickly? I think what we're trying to achieve is because the borough and the school have separate budgets, though the taxes come from one place, we're trying to have the borough contribute more to the schools. That's the goal, it's not for.
I get it, but if it gets transferred.
No, it's not from the rec side, borough, like I think, the individual before you was saying, we should go straight to the borough with this, not the rec.
Yeah, that's fine, it's just as long as it's.
There's no goal to start charging.
No, it's just I want you guys to recognize where it sits today and the effects that it has. If the impact has a negative result, please do the analysis and become accountants, figure out why it went up. It is attributed to going to the borough, and the borough somehow goes through the back and it charges the parents. I mean, we can say whatever we want, but the result is the same.
Wait, are we talking about the recreation increase?
All the sports in Palisades Park, we hope, a lot of the kids are from Palisades Park, like 80% of Palisades Park, and then we pick up a couple from, you know, from other towns, so.
Well, so I think to clarify this a little bit, thank you. Not to belabor this point. We only charge recreation when our custodial staff requires overtime. I think that's a common courtesy. We don't have it in our budget to absorb the programs of our municipality when we already are concerned with being underfunded. I think that summarizes it at best. So I think what Mr. Kim is alluding to, I think it could be spread out a little bit better for all involved, is that maybe additional funds are afforded to us, the Board of Education, when our facilities are being utilized.
Yeah, I thought we were only charging when it's an entity that is making profit. That's what I thought that's.
For the most part, that is fair to say. Yeah, and again, I think that'll clarify, this use of facilities form will clarify, but again, understand, our recreation program is growing, we'll say, but the reality is, I do not believe, knowing the type of students we have in our community, that the parents should be responsible for that, understanding we still have to pay our custodial coverages on weekends, which is usually double time, or it could be a time and a half.
So the $2,050 of security deposit,
$250,
250,
yes,
right, is waived for the
that is correct.
use of the recreation, right?
Recreation does not pay that
Right,
fee.
they don't pay us.
That is correct.
any dollars.
They are billed accordingly, knowing if there is a custodial fee.
Okay. And also board members, when you respond to the publics, the reports need to first, and then our address that issue with you guys, okay? Alright, so, next,
Hi, Prince Durney, Negotiations Chair. So, for the past year, at these meetings, the Board of Education has been telling the public that they value their teachers and faculty. But at the same time, they refuse to provide us with a fair and equitable contract. I have been working here for 19 years. When I started in 2006, the contract was a mess. The turnover rate with the faculty in our schools was extremely high. Since that time, and especially in the last 10 years, the negotiation team, the superintendent, and the past Board of Education has worked tirelessly to close the gap and try to make our contract a somewhat competitive one. We have made progress with the past contracts, but what the board is currently proposing will set us back 10 years and undermine all that we've worked so hard to achieve. Palisades Park has some of the best teachers and support staff in the state. Teachers and staff who daily go beyond the scope of their duties to provide fun and engaging learning environments for your children. Teachers who are loyal to the district and have been here for years. Teachers who foster relationships with your children and strive to help them succeed. For example, Mark Arabito. Mark Arabito was nominated as Palisades Park High School's October Teacher of the Month. He has worked in the district for over 20 years. Mr. Arabito is known to be extremely enthusiastic about his job, and the kids at the high school absolutely love him and his passion for music. He is constantly positive and has grown the advanced band program to over 60 students. I personally remember during COVID, Mr. Arabito learning special engineering softwares just so he could have his students being able to play together and harmonize over the computer while they were working remotely. While the country was in the midst of a pandemic, Mr. Arabito was working harder than ever to make the most beautiful music compositions and bringing joy through music to those students while they were home. Mr. Arabito is one who, in spite of working without a contract, shows up each day and gives everything he's got to create the best learning experiences for the children of Palisades Park. And he's not alone. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mary de Blasio. I'm a high school teacher. I'm going to speak about one of my colleagues, one of our colleagues. In September, during Hispanic Heritage Month, Mrs. Fornisi rented Pablo Picasso's traveling exhibit. This exhibit consisted of multiple large mural works and information about Picasso's life and famous paintings and pieces. These works hung in the lobby for all to see. During class, students were taken to the lobby to view and admire Picasso's works, learn about the painter, and discuss his contributions to the art world and Hispanic culture. Last year, Mrs. Farnese did this activity, but with Frida Kahlo exhibit. This is the second year that students have been exposed to important painters from the Hispanic world and created Hispanic Heritage Month. Mrs. Farnese knows the best way to engage students' learning is for students to be immersed in it and see the work firsthand. Rosanna has been working in the district as a Spanish teacher for 25 years. Rosanna Farnese is one who, in spite of working without a contract, shows up each day and gives everything she's got to create the best learning experience for the children of Palisades Park. And she is not alone. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rachel Morgessi. I'm a special ed teacher at the high school. I've been there 17 years now. I want to highlight one of our teachers, Jane Cho. She's one of our Korean language teachers at our school. Ever since day one, she's definitely gone beyond, above and beyond in the classroom. She's always bringing in guest speakers. She organizes activities in school and after school to spread love of the Korean culture. And a lot of it she pays out of pocket for materials to make it as successful as it can be for her students. Outside of the classroom, she's also advisor for the KHS, the Korean Honor Society, and the Hope Club. So the Hope Club is a full year club, and its main priority is to raise money for student scholarships. So they give out about 10 to 15 scholarships per year. She reaches out, she's networking all the time, reaching out for businesses to donate money. And there's also activities within Hope Club. So there's a K-pop dance group, traditional Korean drum team. I coach the dance team at the high school, so we collaborate a lot. We have a lot of the same members. So I see firsthand really how much time and effort she puts in because she really cares about her students and she loves them a lot. Jane Cho is one who, in spite of working without a contract, shows up each day and gives everything she's got to create the best learning experience for the children of Palisades Park. And she's not alone. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Mallory Sotomayor. I'm a special education teacher at Lindbergh Elementary School, and I'm going to speak about a school-wide event that was hosted by our physical education department last week. The Lindbergh Physical Education Department just finished hosting their annual Turkey Trot foot race, which has been a Lindbergh tradition for over 40 years. This event allows the teachers and parents to cheer on the students as they race around the track. The 12 winning students received a donated ShopRite gift card, perfect for enhancing their Thanksgiving dinners. Even without a contract, we remain committed to supporting our community and creating meaningful opportunities for our kids. This event reflects our dedication to fostering a positive and supportive environment for students and their families. The Lindbergh Physical Education Department, in spite of working without a contract, shows up each day and gives everything they've got to create the best learning experience for the children of Palisades Park, and they are not alone.
Hello, my name is Catherine Clark, and I have had the privilege of serving as an occupational therapist within this district for the past 6 years. I will be sharing a statement from another teacher and then trying to make a brief statement on my own. So this is Amy Padron, who is a kindergarten teacher at the ECC. Given my tenure teaching background, I am in a good position to make a great contribution to the Palisades Park community. I am a proud teacher at the ECC, and I'm constantly amazed by the accomplishments and goals we teachers have achieved and exceeded together. Teachers work tirelessly, stay consistent, organized, proactive, and diligent with their planning and their craft. They are constantly preparing work, prepping to ensure concepts are taught and executed beautifully. Teaching requires strategic planning, strong work ethic, and devotion. And our teachers here go above and beyond what's required of them. Their passion for their job means that they complete tasks quickly and to the best of their ability. Amy and I would like to highlight a teacher who is actually in this room right now, who has embodied the characteristics stated above for the past 30 years, and that's Mrs. Cheryl Manzella. So, she is the epitome of such devotion and dedication to the field. She endlessly advocates for her students, thoroughly enjoys teaching, as we all know, and collaborates well with her colleagues, me being one of them. She always pushes us to strive for more. She is one of many teachers of Palisades Park District who exemplify the true nature of what it is to be a teacher. Cheryl is one who, in spite of working without a contract, shows up every day and gives everything she's got to create the best learning experience for the children of Palisades Park. And she is not alone. I would also like to express, because I've been here for 6 years, I have seen in all 3 schools the unwavering dedication that all of these teachers bring to the education field. I also have seen the growth of a lot of special needs students and typical students, and it's because of their exceptional care and support that they receive here at Palisades Park. I have complete confidence in all of my colleagues and have gratitude for all of the times that they have helped support me. So I thank you for your time.
Any other pictures? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, he's not teacher. Can you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can wait.
Can you wait,
Yeah,
please? Because I want to make a moment. Sorry, Ms. Peppers. Sorry.
Mary supporter. As I always say when I come here, I'm one of the parents who come here, and I like to come here. For the last few couple meetings that I've been coming here, I've been seeing this teacher coming here overtime in the late night, 7:30, when they have to be in school at 7 in the morning, because I have proof for that, because my daughter at 10 at 7 in the morning, and they are there at 7 in the morning. So this is kind of worrying me as a parent a lot, because I say I enter here today, I feel really happy, and at the same time I feel really sad, because my daughter was just mentioned to me about one of her favorite teachers. She said, "Ma, I really feel that I should move, but I didn't want to move because I want to see this teacher in my graduation. She marks a lot. That's Miss Mauer. She said, that teacher I wanna see it in my graduation, please, I need her number, I wanna see her. So when I heard that from her, especially today, and I see Miss Mawaria, it made me think, what are we doing? Why and when we gonna resolve this? Because it's worrying me as a mother, it's worrying me as a person, because we don't wanna lose teacher that has been here and teacher who mark students so good. Like in everywhere, we have situation with teacher, but that doesn't mean we have to continue with this. I really feel we should get an end at this situation that is very important for the teacher, for the student, and for the parent, that is me. I really wanna know when, if you could give me from the board member, Dr. Cirillo, that we have at least a day that we're gonna resource this. I would like to know as a resident of Palisades Park, if we have a clues. And also, I know we get very excited about the $2 million that we received. That's very good news. Very good job, Dr. Cirillo. But how are we thinking when we get that little school for the pre-K school? What are we gonna do when those kids go to first grade, second grade, third grade, that we don't have space and limber in the high school? Because these kids is gonna grow and they're gonna go up and up. So have we planned for that? Because if we get it in the preschool here, fantastic, we're gonna have a space. But what about when they go to first grade? Because limber is already full, high school, same thing, so that we have a plan. So I don't think it's a good idea to just thinking now about getting the school for those small kids when they're gonna grow and they need to go out and go to a space and classroom, and we don't have it. So that we have a plan for that? I would like to know that, please.
Thank you, Ms. Pepper, please. Any other comments in public? If not, okay, I'm sorry, motion to close, okay, and then you're. I have a motion to close the public participation.
I'd like to make a motion to close, audience participation.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Jonathan Bush, have your comments?
Yeah, so just, I mean, I think the comments for the association speak for themselves. There's obviously a difference in the board's position, and the association's position and how the board views, its members. I could speak for the board when I say there may be some disagreement here, and certainly that's the nature of where we are right now in this contract negotiation, but the board very much does value its teachers. This is mediation and this is fact finding. This is part of what happens sometimes in the process. It's a normal part of the process. It's not something that either side likes. It's not fun, but negotiations are part of how communities end up getting to an ultimate result. And I think the board wants to end this as much as the association, and the board is willing to negotiate. We don't necessarily need to wait for this official process, which could take a long time. We now have further bureaucrats involved in this process than we necessarily want. Fact-finding mediators. This is the kind of thing that can slow these things down. But the board is always willing to talk. I know we're not on the same page yet, but we're really hoping to be and soon. And I also want to clarify something else. It's not accurate to say that the teachers are working without a contract. The teachers are working without a new contract. The teachers are currently working under the existing contract. So I just want to be clear, but the value, which clearly there's some disagreement with, and we certainly appreciate the disagreement because that's why we're here and why a lot of you are here tonight when you could be home, giving your kids a bath and having dinner with your families and other things. But the reality is that we want this done as much as you do.
Thank you, Mr. Bush.
May I just address the one comment? Is that okay? Did you have something?
To Ms. Pepperos?
That's correct.
Okay. So first of all, I just want to make other comments to the teachers. Thank you for your comments, for each of you. I understand your concerns, and then also we board members are parents, most of us too. And then, so I want you to also think about it as well too. And that doesn't mean this challenging and this discord between board and the PPA doesn't mean that we disrespect your valuable work. We appreciate it. Thank you.
And just to, follow up here, because I think there was only one question directed to me. So 5 years ago, approximately when we applied for the pre-K program, I did have conversations about, first and foremost, how would we be able to house the students? Hence, we gave a 5-year projection of getting to our universal number of 210 students after 5 years. Year one, if you remember, we only had 30 students. We didn't have the space. So unfortunately, we had to move, students around. Clearly, at this point, we still don't have the space 4 years later. And we're not moving them around, we're moving them to other providers. And part of moving them to other providers means we're sending a lot of our money, our pre-K money, to outside programs. So first and foremost, we need to establish, why can't we build what I've been asking for 5 years now? At least start with the 7 classrooms. It's a start. Bring some of those kids back, not send out the money that follows the students into those private providers. Once they come back, we have more space, we have more money, we have more opportunities. I think the reality is, right now, there are only 30 students, 2 classrooms being serviced outside of our schools. If next year we are adding 2 more classrooms, because it's an additional 30 from the 180 we are at to 210 next year, that is our projection enrollment that I reported tonight. That is an extra 2 classrooms. We are gonna have extra space already if the 7 classrooms is the start. So I believe firmly that we are moving this in the right direction. With that being said, I think we've seen over time what our graduating classes are. We are averaging between the 120s and the 140s. This is not Powell Park when I started 20 plus years ago of 95 to 100. We are grown. But I think we have seen, with the exception of what Mr. Shin spoke of earlier, I don't know what the next 10 years looks like. A demographic study should be done. But we are 120 to 140. That's our average size at this point. And I think we are sustaining that.
Thank you. Any board members like to make comments?
So if the school district is growing at this pace, at this level, how are we, what can we do to sort of expand with it in the grades? I don't understand,
Well, we're 20 years too late. We started building 20 years ago in this community. We are, at this point, there's not much more room to build, but what Mr. Shin is speaking to, what was in the newspaper today regarding Palisades Park and affordable housing, that's something that we need to get ahead of and not be reactive to 10 years from now.
So do we form a committee to deal with something like this? How do we?
Yes, ma'am. We have buildings and grounds, we have finance, and we have to sit down with the mayor and council and see what the direction of the municipal government is.
Because that's gonna be a large issue. Okay.
Any more comments? And board members?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
But, wait, so we approve the PTA's use of the ECC
Yes.
winter wonderland, right?
Winter Wonderland is happening.
Okay, so we approve.
Just don't ask for a reorg on January 10th.
I have a motion to close our meeting, adjourn the meeting.
We have to approve that addition to January 5th. It was?
You want to make a quick, why don't you, since you approved the other, you can just make a quick motion.
I make,
Okay.
we're in,
What is, because I don't think
we
we make
closed
a motion.
audience, so we need to do this back in buildings and grounds.
No.
So I'd like to make a motion to add January 10th, 2025 under buildings and grounds for the use of the Early Childhood Center for the PTA.
I second.
No, I can't make
You can't make a
a
motion.
motion. I'm making a recommendation.
So, no, that's what I'm, so so Dr.
Sorry,
Cirillo's made
I
the
was
motion,
confused.
it's listed the motion, and someone wants to say motion?
I'll make the
So,
motion.
so this made a motion, is there a second? Second by Mr. Pack, all in favor, all those in
All
favor?
in favor? Thank you, have a good.